Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play HOI4 the New Order as Scotland. Let's continue on from where we last left off. Did I get a spy yet? No, 10 more days. So right now we're trying to treat England, or at least the English minority that's currently in Scotland, a little bit nicer. Just a tad, just a tad. And also there was some sort of Scottish naval blockade that was going on. Drug smuggling. I don't know if that's necessarily true. But, you know, it did make the military a little bit more paranoid with us, which could have some lasting effects, but I'm not too worried. The Burn Supper. Some may meat and cannot eat, and some what eat that want it. But we have meat and we can eat, and say the Lord we thank it. So begins Burns Day each year after a host that's giving grace a small course of soup is dished out to the hungry guests before the haggis is served after. Alongside Ron Burns' address to haggis being recited with the accompanying bagpipes. Also remember the summer Burns Day festive during the Second World War when Japanese blockades and interference led to spice shortages and bland cuisine on the famous poet celebration. Those are too grateful for the spices return to worry overmuch about the nutmeg as a Japanese label instead of a Dutch one. Ye powers, why mak mankind ye care, and dish them out their bill of fare. But it is now 1963, so we've gone through at least one full year of the New Order. Scottish language grading changes. In accordance with the new legislation regarding standardized secondary school graduation, Alva Academy has made an update to the requirements for underclassmen to graduate. This change concerns students who are in English refuge in Scotland, the ERIS. A student qualifies for an EIRS if they have family heritage from the geographical regions of England, Wales, Cornwall, or the Irish counties of Cavan, Down, Antrim, Augment, Derry, Londonderry, Donegal, Macoin, Tyrone, and students have to either be 1, have been born in the areas above and registered as a refugee upon entry of England, or 2, has a current parent or guardian who was born in the geographic regions above and a registered refugee upon entry in Scotland. And 3, has been registered as the placed person in Scotland between 1943 and 1947, and 4, has a current parent or guardian who's been registered as a displaced person in Scotland between 1943 and 1947. ERA students have been recognized with greater difficulties than other students. One of the most notable is with the Scottish language. Many ERA students haven't had the same level of schooling in the Scottish language as the regular students have had, especially those who have not taken those classes in Scottish primary school. A lack of cultural connection is a large impediment on the learning of Scottish language as well. Starting this year, instead of the higher standards of Scottish language classes that are being applied to most students, ERA students will have the Scottish language requirements lowered to the standard grading scale. This is done to account for the lack of opportunity to practice their language skills outside of the classroom. So UP will do badly in a lot of places, what I think is going to be good for us. UP doing badly means that... There we go, we got unnamed. Helge, an unnamed operative. You know what, you just spy down in Liverpool. What is that? Oh, it's a cowboy, okay. Clearly, there's not actually models for the intelligence agencies. I'm surprised they didn't just, like, remove this from the game entirely. Is there any operations you can actually do? I'm not really too sure. Right now, you're at 0.4%. We'll see if that actually does anything at all. Okay, Matai is assuming control of the Gulf. And Matai is... Are you Matai? Yeah, you're Matai. He is still controlled by the Italians. Marshal Wimberley's remarks to the 51st. Man, I want to tell you how proud I am of you. When I inspected you today, I saw men that were trained, men that were motivated, men ready to defend, but more than that, I see a division that is organized and proud, as I've come to expect from the 51st Highlanders. When I first assigned to this unit, it was a motley collection of Scottish troops thrown together from the reserves. First integration of the division was not much better, having been betrayed and abandoned in France and left into a German prison camp. But I knew we had the basics to make the best unit in the British Army. We were going to train hard, we were killed whenever we could, and only have Saxons in the unit when absolutely necessary. When the Huns came, they didn't face the reserve divisions they expected, and they paid for it. Even at the end of the war, when the Nazis stood astride at the Isles, we were the ones to make sure they didn't advance further. And we stood there ever since. Because we were the finest unit of the British Army, and you were the finest of the Scottish one. When the crowds come in, you will have to do your job when we old folks have failed to do. And I know you have the spirit to meet this challenge. So which one of you guys is the 51st Highlanders? It's you guys, who's actually considered a green level army. You're actually one of the worst armies in the game right now, or at least in the army. We got stuff going on in Uruguay and Paraguay. I don't believe they have any focus trees. But Paraguay has apparently gone fascist. You're the bastion of Latin American fascism. Is anybody else in South America fascist? No, it's just you. Just you in Paraguay. We can actually look at ideology. Anybody else doing anything too crazy? Not really. I mean, Haiti's also gone fascist. But I don't know if that really means anything to anybody at the moment. And, you know, let's make some promises to the English minority that we are going to help HMMLR in any way we possibly can. Yeah, keep on saying the manpower. We have a lot of manpower. Guns is a different story. We don't have that many guns. But manpower is doing absolutely okay. I mean, okay, we're still only at 12,000, but don't worry about that too much. The Edinburgh Summit. I think everybody here doesn't doubt this, said one of the English leaders who had attended the conference. We know Scotland isn't going to be part of the United Kingdom under your party's control, and we've accepted that. We haven't taken you for idiots, said the head of the government official at the conference. As the United Kingdom at this stage is not acceptable to either of us, that's because of the regime down below. Agreed. Therefore, in order to provide the safety and stability of these isles, the removal and temporary replacement of the collaboration regime in England is top priority. This government is committed to seeing that happen, and we will work with you to accomplish this goal. The fascist regime must be eliminated by all means possible. On that, we are in complete agreement. Alright then, let's get to work and liberating your country from the bloody Huns. A united front for once. But the SNP is getting a little bit more popular day by day in the English sections of Scotland. Okay, you have won the Welsh elections, so Wales is now a social democracy. I mean, even Wales actually has a pretty decent focus tree. Okay, we got more researches. Let's keep on going. Make our military as good as we possibly can, because we gotta prepare for war. We do saw this really trash artillery division right here. Shouldn't make too yeah, I think we're just going to go straight to you next. We're going to lose some political power. We're going to get a bigger draft. But if it's to secure Scottish independence, by golly, we got to do it. Gee Willikers. Investigating the military. Lead to Germany. Again, you're still, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 away. So we should maybe be able to get all of our focuses done by the time the English Civil War actually begins. Hopefully. Okay, so the king in England is going to go to Germany. I'm not too sure why they renamed Berlin to Germania. It's a little surprising to me. But I also believe at the end of this year, Germany, I think October is when Hitler dies, if I remember correctly. Yeah, give me an extra military factory, please, and thank you. I kind of really need them. Okay, Madagascar has exploded. Who's going to win down there? I don't know if it really matters too much. There's the Republic of Madagascar, 2 factions of Germany, and we have a Jewish community in Madagascar as well. The Intruder. Human aircraft breached Scottish airspace with an unusual occurrence. It was not unheard of. And it's something Flight Lieutenant Webster and his wingmen were familiar with. Many times there was a German naval or strategic bomber looking to show Scotland who was in charge. The challenge was met with the Scottish Air Force. Webster was going to use the same procedure for the strange aircraft that was entering his country's airspace. As his flight passed for the aircraft from the front, Webster could tell it wasn't a military aircraft, it was a Ju-152 transport aircraft. You could clearly see the Luftwaffe marking on the side of the fuselage as well. Commercial aircraft, he thought that was different. The flight flew from both sides of the intruding aircraft. As Webster said over his radio, "Hello, identified Ju-152. Scottish Air Force, you are entering Scottish airspace. I repeat, unidentified Ju-152. You are entering Scottish airspace. Please respond over." Radio crackled, a man with a German accent said in English, "Hello, Scottish Air Force, Luftwaffe Flight 302. We are requesting emergency landing in Aberdeen, over." This was a new one. Most German flights didn't respond at all, much less actively asked to land in Scotland. Luftwaffe 302, Scottish airspace restricted airspace. Please divert your course to. This is a Mayday situation as pilot interrupted. We have hijacked on board who will hurt us if we do not land in Aberdeen. This is a Mayday situation. We must land in Aberdeen, over. Now it's really unusual. Stand by, so Webster as he relayed the information to Flight Command. A few minutes later, they gave him an answer. "Oh, wait, 302, you can make Mayday landing at Aberdeen. Follow me. But if you deviate from the course, we will take aggressive action, over." You will not have to worry about anything like that, Scottish Air Force said a new mysterious voice with the English accent. Thanks for the escort, over. Well, that's just turned into an interesting situation. My guess is that HMMLR has hijacked a aircraft from Germany that was going to England. Retaking the Luftwaffe 302. When the hijacked JU-152 landed in Aberdeen, Scotland was expecting the worst. A group of local police was awaiting the aircraft on the tarmac, and a group of special forces police were on the way in case negotiations went sideways. However, the hijackers were more than cooperative, starting themselves the first opportunity at the Aberdeen police force. It's a huge relief for everyone concerned. The hijackers, a man and a woman, explained that they were English who hijacked the aircraft with a toy gun and a starter pistol. The goal was to force landing in Scotland, this so they could defect, along with a woman's 11-year-old daughter. The situation is not unheard of. There are reports of these types of hijackings in the Unity path with varying degrees of success. That this method of escape, although dangerous, was not actually illegal. The English hijackers were allowed to stay in Scotland. A quick analysis of the 59 other passengers and cabin crew revealed most were English, along with a few Norwegian and Germans. They were heading to Bergen when their flight was taken over in the North Sea. While they attempted to process everybody and get into contact with packed diplomats informing of the safety of the remaining passengers, officials went abroad and announced that everyone on the flight could seek asylum in Scotland. Surprisingly, 3 Norwegians and 4 English, except the officer, were taken to the main terminal. Once everything was cleared up, Luftwaffe 302 was allowed to leave the airport and continue to Bergen. Laws prevented indefinite detention of the aircraft, and the passengers and crew were arrived in Scotland under duress. As the press took photos of the unusual aircraft flying in the evening sky, many people sighed a breath of sigh of relief and thought of the unusual occurrence. Just another day at Aberdeen Airport. Where's Aberdeen is here. Okay. That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting it was going to be a HMMLR like hijacking a like a military convoy kind of thing. But it does not seem like that was the case. Okay, fall in. McKendry is pleasantly surprised by the professionalism that he was seeing. It's only been a generation since Scotland had inherited a broken and defeated military, one scarred by the defeat and the confusion of its own identity in a post-Union Britain. Wimberley is proud. He preens what he sees the well-regimented lines and barely hides a satisfied grin at the absolute disciplined parade. A better trained bunch? You shan't find on these islands, sir. Any foreign threat, either in Britain or from afar, will find themselves utterly outmatched. Entry not entirely taken in by the hyperbole, but as he watched a group of recruits nail drill after drill, he can't help but find some part of him agreeing with Wimberley. The man certainly is zealot. One has been weary since the day he met him. He certainly was achieving results. I don't think we need to improve anti-tank equipment. Do we have any doctrines? Attrition. Go for more defense. Yeah, let's actually go for more defense. I usually don't go for a defensive position, but Scotland doesn't have a very large army, so I think this kind of makes sense for us. Then after that, we'll go for strong border. We'll try to revitalize the economy as much as we possibly can, and then focus on getting the armed forces up and running. So we got legacy. You are 30% for strategic theorem, 30% for combined operations. What do we have? What is our? We have strategic theorem, which is you. Okay. Strange occurrence of Aberdeen Airport. Robert Entry listed in the briefing, and they spoke. Essentially, what he's saying is that you have no idea what's going on at the airport. Guys are visibly swallowed. Commander Campbell noticed before relaying to him. In a word, sir, yes. All we know is that the army is gathering there. A few local airport officers who tried to question them, they were essentially either shouted away or simply ignored. One officer tried to force his way past the perimeter guard, was driven away when a few of the officers brandished their firearms at him. Robert Entry nodded, then turned to Campbell. Jimmy, we didn't know what's going on down there. What options are available to us? Campbell turned to the officer and dismissed him for replying. We have 2 options. He began as Robert McKentry made his way to the chair and took a seat. We can send in a small team of men from the security service with the intention of implementing some surveillance equipment, microphone cameras, and the like. The other option is a lot less finesse, but one that might work with extra officiality. That would have the Aberdeen police conduct an official investigation. Either way, there's a chance that this is something legitimate, and there's a chance that it's something illegitimate. Those are options we need to decide for. It's too late. Do we have an option? So now the Air Force is doing some shit. And we also have no political power for a few days. Okay, so so Japan has just had an economic crash. I guess we'll probably try to investigate the airport first. No, we'll set up surveillance first. We'll at least see what they're trying to do. Can we have, like, no political power at all? And the English minority, they still don't like our government, but they're liking it less slower, if that makes any sense. 1963 Scottish Open. 4! Yelled Roger. Phil Rogers as the ball shot forward in the crowd, who moved away as soon as he saw the shot. It was hole 18 during the final round, and he was 8 strokes away from winning against Bob Charles the Kiwi. The two men had recently tied each other in the last round. Paul Palmer had recently finished in 26th after being a heavy favorite due to him winning the past two tournaments. As Phil Rogers walked to the ball, Bob Charles watched, hoping that he could win his first Scottish Open. As the crowd was quiet, Rogers hit the ball with a 9-iron, hoping to get it just a tad closer to the green. However, it hit the ball too hard, and it ended up landing in one of the many sand bunkers of St. Andrews. He walked over to the Scotland Bridge to his ball. Once again, the crowd was quiet. He hit the ball once again. However, this time it did go far. Rogers bit his lip at the revelation that Charles clapped with the rest of the crowd, watching with much interest. After 20 more minutes passed, it was apparent that Rogers was going over par. He double bogeyed in the end. Bob Charles smiled and announced that he would win. He walked down this Cedar Lake Bridge with thunder of applause and shook his opponent's hand, to receive the trophy. Okay, next up, we'll do a strong border. Oh, you're losing its political power. You know what? I kind of need to do it anyways. Even though we're going to lose political power. I mean, I guess. No, we won't have time. We're gonna be at like negative 36 after this is done, but that's not so bad. I'm assuming the other ones are not gonna lose this political power, but it does mean that we won't really be able to. Oh, you give us plus 50. Never mind. We're golden. But again, we don't really know what's going on in Aberdeen. Okay, we'll go for you next. You'll at least get us back into the positives. That'll be nice. But will we even have time to do anything? Because you're going to be done in like 15 days. I honestly don't think we'll be able to do a single operation in the armed forces. I mean, they're happy with us, but they're also paranoid. Paranoid, but a little happy as well. But at least after this, we can aid HMMLR a little bit afterwards. Erdogan's have taken over the Levant. So Israel now exists. Yeah, we're negative 33 political power. It's going up by 0.14 per day. That's really bad. That's actually really bad. In 1963 Highland Games, bagpipes filled the air and it was Cowell Highlands Gathering, one of the more premier highlands in Scotland. As the opening ceremonies commenced, Marshal Wimberley had led the 51st Highlanders through the opening ceremonies with him in the front. Behind him was traditionally dressed soldiers in kilts and bagpipes playing. The open ceremony came to a close. Wimberley waved to the crowd and took a seat while the Highlanders marched off the field. The crowd was jovial. This event was one of the larger displays of Scottish independence and culture. There had been rumors of the event being postponed due to a thunderstorm, but it hadn't rained and the games had still occurred. The Caber Toss had been the first event in the game. Some of the men who had been participating in the toss had been members of the Highlanders. Top throw of the day was by Evan Smart, one of Wimberley's Highlanders who landed the camera perfectly at the 12 o'clock position each time he went. There was a small break before the next event. One of Wimberley's advisors asked him if he was going to be a contestant in the hammer throw. Wimberley grinned and replied that he was too old for this, but he did say he would watch. As the day went on, more events came by, and there was astounding displays of strength in the weight toss. Some of the contestants threw the weights over 3.5 meters into the air. The crowd had seen many feats of strength, but this day was coming to the close. They ended with a gathering of many Scottish bagpipe bands who had come to the festival, including the Highlanders. They ended with Scotland the Brave, the roaring crowd. A great celebration for the power of England. I'm not England, for Scotland. Okay, we've revitalized the economy. Let's provide more training for HMMLR. You're requesting additional forces, and they're getting close to going to war, which is a little scary, but what can you do? Making unemployment subsidies. Scotland is not just Edinburgh. Yeah, let's fund Scottish Rail first. Seems okay to me. I know this is gonna fire. There's nothing we can do about that. And our political power is just so bad. Itchy trigger, flat taxes. What's actually itchy trigger finger? Situation where despite all the control, Scotland can go down a dark path. I think we're okay. But it looks like war is starting to break out in Siberia. We'll see who can eventually end up unifying all of Russia. What's done cannot be undone. Okay, apparently they're gonna get more paranoid. Campbell had left one page report in Campbell's box that morning. It was straightforward, concise, it was Campbell's usual style, both in speech and in writing. Campbell set aside the other folders and reports that had been prepared for him. The economy and the bureaucracy could wait. He slipped out the report from the folder it had been enclosed in and began to read. He decided he wasn't sure how he felt about what Jimmy had reported. Apparently, whatever had been going on in Aberdeen, the report was no longer going on. The military forces had shown up out of the blue at the airport, closing off certain stations, and had left suddenly as they appeared. Campbell reported that overnight his agents had observed the arrival of several military transport planes and subsequent loading of these planes, and then their takeoff. It had taken him only a few hours to clear the airport, and now all the areas that had been closed off were accessible once more. Robert McGinty had put the report down and took a long drag of the cooling morning's coffee. The time of any sort of action was gone now. All they could do was hope this was an isolated, less harmful incident. Okay, very cool. You're now very paranoid. Excellent. But I think this is going to be a good time for us to end for today. So thanks for watching. My name is Anthony. If you enjoyed, thumbs up. I don't click thumbs down. You want to subscribe, and goodbye.